All right, we've got more McDougall contradictions. Again, my goal with these videos is put on the durianrider.com hat. My goal with these videos isn't for significance, is actually to contribute. McDougall's making some disastrous mistakes, and as a result, he's contradicting himself, and his audience is extra confused. Just go on any Facebook group where they talk about McDougall's protocols and, is sugar good or sugar bad? Blah, 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 I can't lose weight, or I feel like tired, or like Carl Lewis ate sugar, but McDougall says sugar's bad. It's like, just contradictions after contradictions. So let's listen to McDougall contradict himself yet again about fruit and sugar and carbohydrate in general. He thinks carbs are bad, and then he thinks carbs are good. And he says carbs are good for weight loss, and he says carbs are bad for weight loss. And he says carbs don't cause insulin resistance, and then he says carbs do. It's just all over the shop. I'm not sure if it's his elderly age. We respect that, but the dude says some good things, and then he contradicts it. So it's like is he a doctor? What do doctors know about nutrition? Just saying.
Your health.
It doesn't matter what your qualification you are. If you contradict yourself, and that makes you uneducated on the topic you're talking about. It's like me saying, pigeons don't attack people. Pigeons do attack people. But be careful with pigeons. Oh, they're going to attack you. Pigeons don't attack you. You're okay. Sugar's fine. Potatoes don't have sugar. Starch isn't a sugar. Glucose is not a sugar. Double molecule bond of polysaccharides is not a sugar. It is a sugar. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it is. Yes, it is. No, what? It's like, what? So it doesn't matter if you're a bum on the street or a doctor on High Street. If you contradict yourself, you don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you've developed AIDS or cancer. You've become so thin you've lost 30, 40, 50 pounds. Those people who have an image of you from the past. Change is not something that people enjoy.
And the reason why people lose so much weight when they have AIDS or cancer is they just have no appetite. They just have very, very little appetite, and so they just waste away. They waste away. Obviously, and their muscle wastes away as well. That's why anabolics are very popular in these situations.
It's not comfortable. But people who you meet new at your new weight will think you look great. I offer to people weight charts that were developed by Walter Kempner of the rice diet.
This is what cracks me. Is McDougall's like, don't eat sugar, but eat rice, eat sugar, eat potatoes, eat sugar, eat fruit. Don't eat sugar though, and restrict your calories. But Walter Kempner who didn't contradict himself, who recommended unlimited calories, just like yours truly. I don't recommend unlimited calories because Kempner did. I recommend unlimited calories, carbohydrate calories, to be clear. Unlimited fruit, rice, white sugar, corn, potato calories. I recommend unlimited because that's what works for me, and that works for thousands and thousands of slim men and women who follow my protocols, who were fat, now they're not. Not to mention 5 billion people around the world who don't limit their carbohydrate calories. And they come from India and Africa and Asia, and they don't limit their calories. Or they never used to anyway. Maybe they get on the social media and go, I should limit my carbs and eat more fat. Oh my God, I've got a gut for the first time in my life, and I feel grumpy and cranky more than I used to do. What's going on? Must be the sugar. Must be the sugar I don't eat anymore. So these cultures didn't have calories in, calories out. They didn't know how many calories were in their corn. The Mayans didn't count the calories. They were lean. Right? And you eat too much fat, you feel good. You feel gunky and greasy. Your hair's greasy and your skin's greasy. You get acne. Oily foods, greasy, fatty foods cause acne in people who are sensitive to acne. Anyway, let's listen to McDougall contradict, and I'll interject as we go along.
And those can be found in my November 2015 newsletter. But Walter Kempner put out some weights that...
McDougall's newsletter has some great things. That's what gets me about this guy. It's like, do I promote him? Do I not promote him? I mean, I launched McDougall high on social media. Back in 2010, he had no presence. And I was like, McDougall, check it out. And then his book, Starch Solution, came out. And I'm like, this is just orthorexia, anorexia. Don't eat fruit, don't eat too much. It's like, oh my God. What chance people have succeeding on this path?
That may be troubling for some people, but I offer them as reassurance that you're not losing too much weight, because you'll likely reach a weight that Walter Kempner just considers ideal. And these kind of charts maybe make you feel more comfortable. But still, if that's not the case, if you look in the mirror, you're not happy with what you see, you want to put on some pounds, I can do that. I know how to cause you to gain extra body fat. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. Yeah, it's going to go from your fork and spoon right to your hips, your thigh, your abdomen. In fact, it won't even change the chemical structure of the fat. So if you want to wear fish fat, then you eat fish. You want to wear trans fats on your body fat.
Trans fats are in all animal products. Organic dairy has trans fats. Processed vegetable oil, or vegetable oil is always processed, but fatty foods always have trans fats if they come from an animal product, and most plant oils have trans fats. Okay, the organic milk has trans fats in it. Raw.
Fat, and you eat Crisco's and margarines.
Or animal products which have trans fats. Fish doesn't have much fat in it. Like tuna's very lean, but the problem with tuna, apart from the environmental destruction of the fishing boats, what they do, etc., and the cruelty involved, the issue with tuna is the mercury in the fish today. If you're serious about health, I wouldn't be eating fish.
Etc. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. Well, how would we do that in a relatively healthy manner? Because you don't want to do it by adding pure oil. That's toxic. Corn oil, safflower oil, canola oil, these things are poisonous in terms of developing cancer, artery disease, diabetes, etc.
So is nuts and seeds, man. You still get insulin resistance from nuts and seeds, McDougall. And this is what I mean. Like he thinks that avocado fat doesn't block insulin receptor site. It does. He thinks that nut fat, nut butters, and peanut butter, these things will cause insulin resistance. And then the cascade of things that come with that, cancers, etc. So he's just saying oils are bad. They're all the fats, man. They're all created equal when it comes to insulin resistance. Okay. Now some fats have more nutrition, but no doubt about that. Avocado, a lot of trace elements, but it's still too much fat, and it causes insulin resistance. So having a cigarette, you might smoke tobacco and it has all these antioxidants in there, but you're getting the carbon dioxide and all the other stuff. So too much fat, it's too much fat. How much is fat's too much? If you're getting insulin resistance, then that's too much fat for you, which is for most people, if they're sedentary, 10, 20 grams a day is going to be tops for most adults if they're sedentary. If they're athletic, they're active, you burn the fat off, then you can go with more, but 10 to 20 grams of fat a day is generally the upper limit for most sedentary people. Hence why we have so much diabetes around today, because people just go way beyond 30 grams per snack. They're like 100, 200 grams of fat a day. That's why we see a rise in diabetes. Oh, but diabetes is caused by sugar. Diabetes is caused by fat. Fat blocks insulin receptor site, and that causes insulin resistance, which causes more insulin to be released, or more metformin, or more insulin units if you're type 1 diabetic to be used. The more insulin in your body, the more inflammation you have, the more weight gain you experience. It's not the sugar, it's the fat. Simple as that. That's why I love working with type 1 diabetics, because they're like, damn, wow, since I've cut out fat from my diet and I had as much sugar as I want, my blood sugars are more stable. I'm using less units of insulin than ever before, and my hemoglobin A1C is the best ever. And why didn't my endocrinologist tell me this? That's a good question.
So how would you do it in a relatively safe way? Well, let's add some healthy, high-fat, concentrated, high-calorie concentrated foods, whole foods. And those will come in the form of nuts and seeds and avocados. I think adding these will cause you to gain a lot of weight. They're 90% fat.
Yeah, when we talk about weight, we should say fat. And he's right. These avocados, nuts, you'll gain fat. The more fat you eat, the more fat you wear. Simple as that. No matter the source.
Fat you eat's the fat you wear. The next step would be to add dried fruits. In fact,
here we go. Bow, bow. He was going so well, wasn't he? And then he's like, but dried fruits. Dried fruits. Let's listen to why dried fruits cause obesity. Add fat. Meanwhile, over here, I look like I'm coming out of freaking Auschwitz, you know? Far out.
We're talking about trail mix now, aren't we? Fruits and nuts. And they utilize it as high energy food for a reason. So you've got the fruit, the dried fruit, which is simple sugar, which raises your insulin levels. And you got...
Oh, here we go. Dried fruit is simple sugars and it raises insulin levels. Now I don't know if McDougall's maybe had a fall. Maybe he's got some amnesia or something. Simple sugars raise insulin levels. Let's have a look at So if raising insulin levels is bad, then we shouldn't eat potatoes, because the Harvard education website says they are high in top of carbohydrate that the body digests rapidly, causing blood sugar and insulin to surge and dip. They have a high glycemic index load, so we shouldn't eat potatoes, according to Harvard. And according to McDougall, we shouldn't eat potatoes because potatoes cause a spike in insulin. You know, dried figs, glycemic index 62. So he says dried fruit's bad because it spikes your blood sugar too much, which will spike your insulin. Raisins 55, oatmeal around 55. All right, but he says eat oats. Oats is good. Mashed potatoes around 87. And what do you do when you put a potato in your mouth? You mash it with your teeth. All right, you chompers. So he's contradicting himself by saying, but you can eat potatoes. That's okay. You can eat fresh fruit. That's okay, but you can't eat dried fruit, even though the dried fruit has the same glycemic index or less than potatoes. Okay, computer cut it then. It's just contradiction after contradiction after contradiction. Don't eat sugar because sugar raises insulin and that will store the fat. The fat's getting stored as fat, Johnny boy, alright? You don't need to eat sugar with fat to make it get stored as fat. That's why all the keto people have to calorie restrict. They don't eat sugar, but they have to calorie restrict so their fat doesn't become like extra surplus fat. So they have to drive themselves into some crazy calorie deficit. They're taking modafinil pills. Look at Dave Asprey, bulletproof coffee. Look at the dark bag circles on his eyes. He's just like, he hasn't slept for like in 10 days because he's trying to burn all his fat calories off. And then they skip meals. They call it intermittent fasting. And then they do purging, which they call 5-2 diet. We just eat 5 days and then skip 2, or we eat 2 and then skip 5. We do intermittent fasting and 1 meal a day, and then fat restriction, and then when you do liposuction like Joe Rogan does, and then says, I'm just doing carnivore diet. So, dang it, mate, there's just these frauds out there that confuse the masses, and the system loves it because they bring in the money, and it's all good. But yeah, McDougall was like just dropping the ball so hard, man. Fat stored as fat, regardless of your insulin levels, okay? Insulin is very anabolic, so it just causes more inflammation and more mass, Insulin drives all the nutrients, the fats, proteins, carbohydrates into the cells. You can increase your insulin growth factor, you can increase your growth hormone, add more weight to your body. So don't worry about fruit, don't worry about dried fruit, don't worry about potatoes, don't worry about sugar, don't worry about white rice, all right? The glycemic index of these things that McDougall says are bad are often lower than the foods he recommends. But then he says, don't eat these dried fruits, don't eat the simple sugars because they raise triglycerides, they raise insulin because the glycemic index is higher. No, it's not, McDougall. Mashed potato, when you put a potato in your mouth and you mash it with chompers, that's 87 now, 87 GI. If you want to go by the numbers. Obviously it's going to vary potato to potato, but it's just contradiction. Contradiction, let's go a little bit more.
Got the fat coming from the nuts and seeds. Insulin stuffs fat into fat cells, so you have an ideal energy bomb for...
The fat's going in the fat anyway, dude. The fat's going to the fat anyway. You know what I mean? It's like water to water. Water seeks its own level. Fat gets stored as fat. Regardless if you got the sugar... Damn.
Putting fat in your blood fat cells with trail mix. Of course, you want to pick a healthy...
Not with trail mix, with fats, okay? With fats, because my trail mix doesn't have any nuts in it. I ain't going to make anyone fat. Look at me. Look how lean I am.
Healthy trail mix. The next step I would...
What's healthy trail mix? You know what I mean? Like, what's... Oh, durianrider, it's pretty simple. It's healthy trail mix. It's healthy trail mix, durianrider. What is healthy trail mix? Yeah, say healthy to one person, healthy to me is fruit, rice, and sugar and potatoes. For some persons, healthy's bacon and eggs and fried frickin' corn dogs or whatever, it's healthy's relative subjective term. It's like what's a good looking paint job? Like, what colour do you like? So these subjective terms, McDougall, being a doctor, doesn't understand the word objective. Let's give numbers and be specific. I recommend 10 to 20 grams of fat a day max if you're trying to lose fat as an adult.
Take would be to start increasing the number of refined foods in your diet.
There we go, refined foods. Don't when we cook rice, we refine it. Don't when we have potatoes in our mouth and mash it, we refine it. Don't when we cook food, we refine it. Cooked potato is more sugary than a raw potato. Yes or no? Yes, it is. When the rice is cooked, when we boil the rice, we make it more sugary. We refine it, we process it. If you're not into processed refined foods, then you eat a raw food diet where you don't juice your fruit, you don't blend your fruit, you don't even chop your fruit, you just let your mouth do it. You blend it with your mouth. You're still processing it. So the whole word processing is so subjective, because if you eat food and chew it, you've now processed that food. You know, you've processed the food. Oh, do you? Yes, you have. Mashed potato. Classic example. You mash it in your mouth. So you can test the glycemic index of a steamed potato. Go, see, look at this. It's only 60. Yeah, what? You're going to put that into your... How are you going to get that down to your gut? You're just going to shove it down your mouth hole? You're going to chew it up. You're going to have mashed potato in your mouth. So that goes from a 60 glycemic index, like table sugar, to like an 80 to 90 to 100. Because you mash it, you chew it up. That's why I laugh at these people say, sugar's bad, potato's okay. But sugar's bad. Fruit's okay, but dry fruit's not good. Banana's okay, but dates aren't good. So, oh my God, can't you see how you contradict yourself? Well, dates, they spike your sugar more, but your potato spikes it even more. Oh, okay, but sugar spikes your sugar. Sugar spikes your sugar. Spikes your insulin. But you mash potato in your mouth, does it even more. But I don't like you, Durianrider. You're a rapist. You're a pedo. Yeah. These days, when someone doesn't like, they just call you a rapist or a pedo or something like that or whatever. It's pretty funny. Anyway, they do it. Trust me. Go and watch that Charlie Veach guy. It's pretty funny. He puts these junkies in the spot. Like, you're a rapist. You're a pedo because you're filming me. It's hilarious, man. Anyway, let's go back on.
Like breads and bagels.
Oh my God! It's not the cream cheese people put on the bagel. It's not the oil in the bread. It's not the egg and bacon sandwich. It's the bread. It's the refined grains. See what I mean? How much of a contradiction does he have? Look at this chart here. Starch is all these sugars. But the sugar's bad, but sugar's good. The sugar's bad, but starch is good, but starch is just sugar. Alright? That's just like saying lead's bad. A single unit of lead, or 2 units of lead is bad. A disaccharide of lead is bad. But 10 leads in a row, that's okay. It's like putting one fishing sinker, one sugar. I can't do that. We can have 10 fishing sinkers, lead fishing sinkers, 10 of them in our food. That's okay. The lead's okay now because we've got many leads together. It's still lead in your blood, okay? It's still sugar in your blood. Sugar's good. Sugar fuels every single cell in the body. Lead's not good. Lead equals dead. Lead, like pesticide. Oh, I wouldn't drink pesticide, but I have it in my food. Still pesticide, still causing damage. I wouldn't eat sugar. I wouldn't add sugar to my food, but the sugar's in the food from the naturally occurring sugar, which is glucose. But I'd eat glucose, but I wouldn't add glucose to my glucose. I'd eat sucrose that's found in fruit, but I wouldn't add sucrose that's the sucrose in the same. Like, what? I don't know what I'm talking about. I contradict myself all the time. I won't eat sucrose, but I will eat sucrose. I don't eat sugar, but I'll eat sugar. I don't do sugar, but I do honey. Honey's not the same. Honey's not sugar. I hate sugar. Honey's very acidic, by the way. It's very acidic and it can cause dental enamel issues. Okay. Sugar's pH neutral. Oh, sugar causes inflammation? No, it doesn't. How? That's high blood sugar, the insulin. All right, that's insulin doing that. It's not sugar. Okay. Sugar's like the baseball on the ground in the shop window. It's been broke. It's not the baseball that broke the window. It's a little scoundrel who threw the baseball through the thing. It's not the sugar that causes the fat. It's the fat from your donut that causes the fat. Okay. Again, I repeat myself for the last 15 years on YouTube. But McDougall keeps contradicting himself and his audience is just getting dumber and dumber and dumber. Let's see if we can wrap it up.
And maybe pasta, except pasta is not as quite as calorie sufficient as, say, breads and bagels, because pasta is mixed up with water.
Oh, so the water reduces the calories, does it? The water reduces... What? You know what I mean? So if you eat pasta, that's okay, but if you eat bread, no. What is bread? Flour and a bit of water. What's pasta? Flour and a bit of water. So that's just like, what? So what if I drink water with my bread? Does that dilute the calories? It dilutes the calorie dilution. It's all about calorie dilution. Whenever someone's about to go crazy, they always talk about calorie dilution or all sorts of calorie dilution. Calorie density. It's too calorie density durianrider. The calorie durianrider. The calorie density is too much. The calorie density is too much durianrider. You gotta go for low calorie density. Far out, man. Far out. It gets me dry. Meanwhile, I'm over here leaner than any of these fuckers, man, who are on the making critique videos or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, all these people who disagree with me. I'm leaner than you, bro. And I'm leaner than you last year. And I'll be leaner than you in a year's time as well. You might be able to starve down, but you don't have the striations, like an angular phrase. When you chew your food, you see striations in your cheeks. Striations in your butt cheeks. Not that makes me better. I'm just saying, if the discussion's about body fat, get as lean as me and stay at lean for the last decade like I have. And then we can have, a fair conversation. Just like if you're a great pianist and I can't play the piano, you got to think I'm an idiot. Trying to say, well, you don't know how to, you don't know how to play a piano, Johnny Jane. But you kick my ass on the piano. I kick your ass in body fat levels all year long. Listen to me. Sounds arrogant, but it's true. McDougall's taking it too far. I would say he's got an eating disorder, and I'd say that he's starving himself. Personally, that's my personal opinion, and I guarantee I could get McDougall more cognitive function if he did my protocols and ditched his own. His own protocols are sabotaging him. He must be, I fill up some sugar. I can't have sugar though. I have potatoes because they're not sugar. Yes, they are. They're starch. It's glucose. And I feel like a bit of a douche sometimes talking like this, but it's just the truth, man. I'm here to contribute, here to help. And I see people suffering so much, and it makes me frustrated. That's why I get all like hyped up. Because I see people just the guy say plant proof, Simon Hill, saying, processed sugar's bad. I'm like, bro, like, what? Like, you say drink 5 to 10 cups of coffee a day or whatever you say, You say you don't use anabolic steroids, but in my opinion, you do. And lying about that to your audience and saying it's just a protein powder, guys, buy this, a 10% discount code. In my eyes, that's fraud. That's my opinion. And it's not just Simon. It's not just McDougall. It's every freaking mofo in the vegan scene lately. They contradict themselves all the time. Simnit nutrition. I don't take steroids. Yes, you do, bro. Yes, you do. You know what I mean? It's like, and then the thing is, these people lying or just miseducating their audience by their ignorance and contradictions, then the audience is going, yeah, that person's got 200,000 subscribers. They've got a verified tick. Yeah, it must be the truth. Or they're a doctor, or they're this, they're that. And then I come along and say this, and like, but doing right, like, I don't know. Because most people say you're wrong. And it's like, well, do my protocols and do them, actually fucking do them, not part-time, not on Mondays, and do whatever on the rest of the week. Like, do them 7 days a week, 367, and then look at your blood tests, look at your performance, look at your wattage, biomarkers, etc. All going to go up. The good things are going to go up, the bad things will go down. But again, it's just people 95% of people out there are dumb as doorknobs, man. I'd say 95% of people out there, doesn't matter what their IQ is, dumb as doorknobs. Or they want to hear good things about their bad habits. Oh, I don't eat sugar. Like this, I ate this donut, and it's because I'm an emotional eater. It's not because I'm craving sugar. Or sugar craving is actually bad. Oh, I shouldn't eat sugar. I do a water fast. Yeah. How much does that cost? $10,000. Oh, that's my health. I can't pay that. It's just like, durianrider, you're wrong. You're super lean, and you're leaner than anyone all year long, and you don't starve yourself, and you're a funny fuck, and you always put out more content than anyone else, and not a money grabber like they are, but you're wrong. Far out, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I remember when my ebooks were free, people didn't take it seriously. I mean, my coaching was free. People didn't take it seriously. The more I charge, the more people take me seriously. Like, that's the world we're living in, all right? That's the world we're living in. The more you charge for something, the more people take you seriously. I'm just like, oh, my God. I have to charge more and more for the truth before people see the truth as the truth. That's what I got to do. And that's what I got to do.
This is the calorie concentration.
The water reduces calorie concentration. I mean, that sounds plausible, but in the real world, no, because you're going to have your water with your pizza, you're going to have your drink with it or whatever. Like, that's just, oh, man.
So was that those additions?
So basically when he says that it dilutes the calories, McDougall's just another calories in, calories out. CICO educator. I call CICO psycho. McDougall's just another psycho, nutritional sense psycho, which will make you psycho, as in the angry face psycho. Because he's like, it's all about calorie dilution, calories in, calories out. If it's all about calories in, calories out, why don't you just eat KFC and just restrict your calories? Because that's what McDougall's saying. If it's just calories in, calories out, why would you want to eat oats for breakfast when you have KFC? For me, it's about health and performance. I know that 3,000 calories a day, let's say 3,000 is a random number, 3,000 calories a day of KFC and butter and bacon and eggs and full cream dairy milk organic isn't the same as 3,000 calories a day from my protocols. Sweet fruits, rice, sugars, starches, etc. It's not the same, all right? On paper, it's the same, but 3,000 calories, yeah. It's not. You're going to look, feel, smell, and perform the same on those two radically different diets? No, you're not, all right? It's 3,000 calories, 3,000 calories. No, it's different. Your hormones are going to be the same. No, it's going to be different, okay? You're going to gain so much fat on that 3,000 calories a day of fatty foods, and you're going to lose so much fat on 3,000 calories a day of my protocols. Well, I don't need 3,000 calories a day during your day. I'm a beast. I need to eat less. No, you will on my protocols. You will get so freaking skinny. You'll get emaciated, and you'll feel amazing in the meantime without starving yourself, okay? Without starving yourself. I don't get it, man. But again, it's just, it's easier to fool people than convincing them being fooled. Most people out there they want to believe that they can have their donuts and their ice creams, etc. If I just calorie restrict, if I just weigh myself in the morning, eat less that day, I'll be okay. But I'll be an absolute fucking drainbow to be around relative to what I would be otherwise. You've got your twin brother or your twin sister, hypothetical twin, and they're doing my protocols, and you're doing McDougall's protocols, and you're calorie restricting, you're on your coffee, on your Gregor 5 cups a day, and you're weighing yourself 3 times a day, because that's what Gregor said to do, and your dirty dozen foods or dozen food, blah, 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 blahs. What's it called? The daily dozen or whatever? Got my flaxseed in, and you're doing that diet, and it's giving you the Gregor body. If that's what you want, that's okay. The Gregor fitness level, I should say. And, and then you got your twin who's doing my protocols, okay? Who's going to have better results? Who's going to have better relationship quality? Who's going to have better orgasms? Who's going to be able to give better orgasms? Who's going to be able to learn more and do more and contribute more and feel more significant in your life? Because they're like, I've got more control of my daily participation. I've got a greater control of my daily participation in my life versus I can act versus react. I can control my mood versus my mood control me, because I'm always getting my sugars in. I'm always getting my rice in for dinner. I've got my potatoes in for dinner. I've got my sugars in the morning and my fruits in the morning, and I'm all good to go. McDougall says food combining's a myth. Gregor says food combining's a myth. Simon Hill, plant proof. All these people, they were all these clowns. Say it lovingly. All these clowns. And I just pick their names randomly because I see them in the feeds here and there. People ask me questions about them. All these clowns say that food combining doesn't exist. Because there's no random controlled study durianrider to prove that eating cashews and then having watermelon afterwards does any difference. It's just, it doesn't affect your digestion. That's called fructose malabsorption if you have an issue. Now it's called bad food combining. No, it's not durianrider. My doctor said it doesn't. It's like, well, then you're the one who's taking all the prescriptions your doctor's telling you for antacids and all sorts of stuff. Anyways, that's the deal. Let's listen to McDougall's last minute, and I'll try and keep my mouth zipped if I can. We'll see if we can. See how long I can keep quiet before another contradiction comes up.
With nuts and seeds and avocados and dried fruits. And
here we go. Dried fruit makes you fat. Contradiction. The carbs don't make you fat, but dried fruit does. Sugar doesn't make you fat, but dried fruit does because it contains sugar. But potatoes don't make you fat because they contain sugar too. Oh, I just contradicted myself.
And a few refined foods. You can make a really healthy diet. It'll cause you to gain that extra few pounds that'll make you more comfortable. Look in the mirror. Do you like what you see? If you don't, you just change the balance of the food, and it's easy to change your personal appearance.
That is, but let's talk about our personality as well. Okay, let's remember personality, energy, passion, presence. What woman out there once heard a man to be less present with her? A lot of guys are like, masculine presence, what's that? Masculine presence is the main thing women crave from you. guys, if they're in your life. Whether it's your mum, your sister, your girlfriend, your lover, your side chick, your cashier, whatever. Masculine presence, all right? Could be just in a feminine way, it could be in a sexual way, it could be in a family way. Masculine presence makes women feel safe. So if you restrict your carbs, well, you go, I can eat potatoes, but I can't eat sugar, you restrict your masculine presence as a man, and you restrict your life quality as a man. And vice versa for women. If you're a woman and you're restricting your sugar, you're going to restrict your feminine presence. And you won't have the successful relationships or whatever you want that you could deserve and you could get if you did my protocol. Like, I know the difference. I've been with women who feared sugar and you know, in my life over the years, and it's like they're just up and down. 1 minute really hot, next minute really cold. And it's like, come on, I know what's going on. It's just sugar, man. Your blood sugar's going low, your muscle glycogen is going low. What's going on? And women are naturally up and down, hot and cold. But you know, they're really hot and cold, you know, more so swinging like that if they're doing the sugar phobia thing, or they're restricting their carbs, or you know, restricting their calories overall. It's just like, man. And then when you get these women out there who have as much sugar as they want, you know, and it's like keeping the fat low, and they're just like, boom, they're the ones I like being around. Right? They're the ones who live with me. So it's just how it is. You know, well, they're the people I have in my friend group, my social circle. Carbs are king. Potatoes, rice, fruit, sugar, get them all in. If you exclude any of these things, if you exclude fruit, breakfast, you suffer. If you exclude sugar, you suffer. If you exclude potatoes, corn, white rice, you suffer. You know, if you can't digest the white rices or whatever, then okay, that's unusual, but okay, then just live on fruits, sugar, and some celery, you'll be fine. But I've never met anyone in my life who can't digest potatoes, sweet potatoes, etc., or rice, white rice, you know. But yeah, fruit's got to be the staple with the refined sugar, the white sugar. That's the sucrose. Why are we adding sugar to fruit? Because sugar's picked so freaking green. All right, it doesn't have the sucrose it would. It doesn't have the sugar it would in there. Otherwise, fruit contains sucrose, glucose, and fructose primarily. But when you pick a fruit too early, it has less fructose, glucose, and sucrose. So by adding sucrose in there, table sugar, to our watermelon, to our peaches, to our food, in general, we get the sucrose that we will get in nature. Okay. When we don't, we're eating unripe fruit. We're eating acidy, extra acidic fruit. We're eating fruit that's not satisfying. And then we're like, oh, I'm getting all these nutrients and healthy fibers. And yeah, you are, but you're missing out on the main nutrient, and that's sugar. Oh, sugar's not a nutrient, dude. Oh, here we go again. Sugar's not a nutrient. Sugar's a drug. Sugar's a poison. You have orthorexia. You have a psychosis. And it's really affecting your life quality. And it's making me get really frustrated right now. You're testing my faith in my ability to control my emotions with sugar, because the amount of dribble that's coming out of your chin, people, they're sugar phobics. I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, and I love society and people that much, and I see most society's problems are from a fear of sugar and lack of sugar. Sugar makes us feel good. Sugar increases our dopamine. Sugar increases our serotonin. But people are doing crazy shit to get a dopamine hit. They're doing cocaine, they're doing meth, they're doing Adderall, they're doing caffeine to get a dopamine hit. When they can have sugar, and they can quit these drugs or massively reduce these drugs, which causes these side effects and mood swings, and yeah, it's crazy, you know. So yeah, people are doing these crazy things to get dopamine when they can just have some sugar, get the dopamine hit from sugar, and be like, oh, life's good. Life's good, I feel good, let me go do some good. The whole, you know, you think, oh, I can't mention many names, but you think a lot of these political leaders out there get enough sugar? They ain't, man. They ain't. When you get enough sugar, you lose a lot of your spite and your vengefulness. Because once your serotonin and dopamine goes up, you're more chill. When those things are going down, you feel in pain, you want to inflict pain on others. And that's no win. That's no deal.